I think he need to enjoy what he's doing, and that's it. He need to calm down and start calling out people with other levels. I think he need to focus on what he's doing.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So
he didn't throw any punches until the third or fourth round or something. He was just kind of walking forward, and I don't know what he was doing. It was weird.
Canelo Alvarez didn't hold back when asked about Jake Paul's unexpected victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The fight had just wrapped up and buzz was everywhere. With the boxing world reacting quickly, all eyes turned to Canelo, a fighter who's shared the ring with legends and has a strong link to the Chavez legacy. Canelo wasted no time giving his honest take on Jake Paul, defeating the son of one of Mexico's most iconic boxers.
Paul going toe-to-toe with 39-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And it's another win for Jake Paul. He was greeted with boos post-fight after winning his 6th straight fight, calling out anyone and everyone requesting multiple title shots in a possible rematch with Tommy Fury. Jake claims he's just getting warmed up.
Chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into Chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in this sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Live only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Jake Paul faced off with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a 10-round cruiserweight main event on June 28th, 2025 at Anaheim's Honda Center. From the opening bell, Paul dominated, landing clean jabs and heavy shots to the body. Chavez Jr., now 39, looked sluggish and barely active until the final rounds. The judges' scores told the story: 99-91, 98-92, and 97-93, all in Paul's favor. Chavez Jr. only won one round, a disappointing result for someone with such a legendary surname.
Yeah, no, I felt the crowd's energy, even though they were against me. I love it. I feed off of that. And I think it's funny when I'm landing, however many punches I land, 250 or 200, and he landed whatever, like 100, but they just scream every single time he lands a punch. But at the end, they were quiet. So that's how it goes always.
Well, that shows you the mental toughness of Jake Paul, to your question, right? For this young man to consistently go in, not in Puerto Rico, they love him in Puerto Rico, but to consistently go in around the U.S. and be treated like the underdog in that arena and not being supported the right way, and for him to persevere and to be cool, calm, collected, and composed and deliver is pretty amazing.
Statistically, Paul overwhelmed Chavez Jr., landing 140 punches to Chavez's 61. Most of Chavez Jr.'s connects came in the final 2 rounds, long after the fight has slipped away. With this commanding performance, Paul inches closer to a world ranking, while Chavez Jr.'s display raises serious questions about whether he still belongs in the sport.
Official weight for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., 198.4 pounds. Official weight for Jake Paul, 199.4 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, live right here from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, we see the return of the former world champion, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and the return of the problem child, El Gallo de Dorado, Jake Paul, live on DAZN pay-per-view tomorrow night.
God has given me the ability. God has given me the strength. God is good. And the problem child's a real fucking dog. Oh, 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 oh. I'm knocking him the fuck out, Chris. Let's go, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Veteran fighter Emiliano Vargas couldn't ignore Paul's impressive performance. He praised Jake's calmness under pressure and sharp athleticism, stating that Paul looked really good tonight. Vargas noted Chavez Jr.'s timing struggles, an inability to maintain pace, while Paul's energy stood out. While Vargas didn't go to hard on Chavez, he was clear Chavez wasn't ready for Paul, and it showed. The fight, he said, marked how far Paul has progressed and how far Chavez has fallen.
I mean, look, like he's not accepted. I mean, look, he's a YouTuber. People know that. But you gotta respect it, man. The only thing you do is respect it. But you know, that's it, man. You gotta respect it.
Easy work. Couple of shots at the end. Any of them hurt you?
I just think Chavez didn't get started. That's the only thing. I mean, you can't win.
I want to be world champion. Zerto looks slow as shit tonight.
You can't win if you don't throw, you know. So it was kind of like the Ryan Garcia Rollies thing. You know, Rollies didn't. I mean, Ryan really didn't get started. So you know.
What do you think about how Jake looked and then fought?
You know what?
You're very tough.
If he sucked ass, he sucked ass, but he actually looks pretty good. There's people who working in the gym, you can tell right away if they can box or not. So he can box, he's selling out, you know, obviously this arena. And
Vargas also addressed the growing debate. Is Jake Paul ready to face top 15 or top 20 fighters? He's not the only one asking. Many in boxing are now seeing Paul in a new light, with some insiders acknowledging that he may be edging closer to legitimate opponents, not just ex-MMA fighters or influencers. Promoter Eddie Hearn even admitted Paul might soon earn a WBC ranking, but cautioned that other fighters have worked harder and deserve those spots first.
I missed you. Just I want to get your reaction to the fight.
Oh, great fight. You know, Julio's back after all he's been through. So, you know, I tip my hat off to him. It's not easy, you know, especially through, you know, what life throws at you sometimes. But, you know, it was a good fight.
What'd you make of how Jake Paul looked and fought?
He's doing his thing. Jake Paul's looking good. Shout out to him. Yeah.
Do you think he's ready to, like, fight, like, maybe a top 15, top 20?
Sure, yeah.
So I guess where does Junior go from here, in your opinion?
It's up to him. He can retire if he wants, or he can have another, you know, fight like this. You know, fight a YouTuber or something.
Yeah. In terms of you, Rayo, when can we see you back in the ring?
I'll be back like in the fall, hopefully.
The fall?
Yeah.
Do you have an opponent in mind?
Nothing yet. Nothing set in stone.
All right. Hey, just want to get your thoughts. The rematch between Lamont and Roach. How do you see it? Between Tank and Roach.
That's a good fight. 50-50 fight, like the first fight. I'm gonna go. You know, I don't know, whoever.
Finally, Canelo and Crawford. Break it down.
That's a good fight, man. That's a good fight. It's hard to count Crawford out, man, because he's just a dog. And if anybody's gonna do it, it's gonna be Crawford or Benavidez. You know, so you know, Crawford. I don't know. I'm 50-50.
All right, Rayo, thank you.
Thank you.
Boxing legend Shane Sugar Mosley didn't hold back after watching Chavez Jr.'s lackluster effort. He called the performance lifeless and said Chavez seemed hesitant and overwhelmed. For Mosley, the verdict was blunt. It's time for Chavez Jr. to retire after being thoroughly outclassed by a YouTuber turned boxer. Mosley believes this could be the final blow to Chavez Jr.'s credibility.
When and how, especially Junior fought?
Well, first of all, I think that Jake Paul fought a good fight. You know, he moved around the way he's supposed to, throwing great punches, and for the experience he had, he did fantastic. Junior, on the other hand, he didn't throw any punches until the third or fourth round or something. He was just kind of walking forward, and I don't know what he was doing. It was weird. It was weird to see that type of fighting, but anywho, that's not Jake Paul's fault. So Jake Paul did what he needed to do, and he won, and he looked good.
Where do you think Junior goes from here, in your opinion, Shane?
Junior needs to retire from here.
Junior needs to retire.
He needs to retire. I mean, if you can't throw any punches in 2, 3, 4 rounds, you need to retire. I mean, if you can, what are you doing? What are we doing? You just living up. Basically, you're living off your father's name. That's basically what you do, because you didn't even fight.
Jose Rio Valenzuela was visibly disappointed by Chavez Jr.'s showing. He criticized Chavez's flat energy and lack of urgency under pressure. Valenzuela did, however, credit Paul for his sharpness and control while calling out Chavez's poor performance. Rayo had a positive update for fans. He's back in full training and plans to return to the ring later this year.
Junior go from here, in your opinion?
It's up to him. He can retire if he want, or he can have another, fight like this. Fight a YouTuber or something.
Yeah. In terms of you, Rayo, when can we see you back in the ring?
I'll be back in the fall, hopefully.
The fall?
Yeah.
Do you have an opponent in mind?
Nothing set in stone.
All right. Hey, just want to get your thoughts. The rematch between Lamont and Roach, how do you see it? Tank and Roach.
That's a good fight. 50-50 fight, like the first fight. I'm going to go, I don't know, whoever.
Finally, Canelo and Crawford. Break it down.
That's a good fight, man. That's a good fight. It's hard to count Crawford out, man, because he's just a dog. And if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Crawford or Benavidez, so, Crawford, I don't know. I'm 50-50.
Before the bout, analyst Teddy Atlas voiced his doubts about Chavez Jr.'s chances. While he acknowledged Chavez's past achievements, he questioned whether the fighter still had the desire and discipline. Atlas pointed out that Chavez Jr. seemed more reliant on his father's name than recent performance, though he allowed for the possibility of an upset. If Chavez showed up like he did against Uriah Hall, Atlas confidently predicted Paul's going to beat him.
Paul's going to beat him. I think it'll go the distance. Paul doesn't pick guys, so he'll look stupid. Chavez, when he does throw the left hook, bud, if he leads with it a little bit, the best punch of Paul, besides the jab, is his right hand. He's got a pretty good right hand. And if he could time the left hook being a little wide in front of him, well, as I always say, straight beats round. The straight right hand could beat the left hook.
Just a day before the fight, Jake Paul delivered bold claims saying he'd do what even Canelo never could, defeat Chavez Jr. After backing it up with a dominant win, Paul doubled down. He said this proves he can handle opponents that traditional boxers either avoided or couldn't beat. According to Jake, it wasn't just hype, it was proof that he belongs in the conversation.
This is going to be the toughest fight of his career, the most embarrassing fight of his career. He's going to be exposed.
Julio, que te va a romper tu madre, güey. Más.
I don't think so.
My man thinks he's not going to beat him out.
How do you think this fight plays out?
I break him down, He's always the young man, the stronger guy in the ring. So for the first time, I want to put him back, make him work, extra work.
Following his unanimous win over Chavez Jr., Jake Paul is now eyeing even bigger names in the cruiserweight division. He's publicly called out elite fighters like Javona Davis, Badou Jack, and Gilberto Ramirez, but taking on those names would be a serious step up and a real test of whether Paul belongs among boxing's top tier.
Title challenger. I'd have to say he has a long way to go, but going 10 rounds against a former champion, even if that former champion is a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. who was 39 years old and really 13 years or so removed from credibility in the ring, at least Jake had to go 10 hard rounds, which was an improvement from some of the 8-round fights he's had earlier, and he had to fight off a somewhat stiff challenge late from a Chavez who pretty much took the first 4 rounds off completely of this fight and really took a long time to heat up and finally get going. I don't mean to be a hater here, but you do have to judge with some knowledge compared to the rest of boxing. It's one thing to be the best celebrity fighter in the world. It's another thing to legitimately climb the ladder and fight for a cruiserweight world title.
And this is a kind of Mickey Mouse path to the title shot that he might carve for himself. If Jake Paul is able to get a WBC ranking next to his name by having defeated a former middleweight champion, then kudos to him for the way he's done it. A genius marketer, but with a credibility, like BC alluded to, is not at the highest level.
Gilberto Ramirez is currently focused on a title unification bout with Apataya, making a Paul matchup unlikely anytime soon. But Paul hasn't backed down. He's even called out heavyweights like Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua. At the post-fight press conference, Paul responded to boos with a fiery rant, making it clear he's not here to play games. He says he's chasing legitimacy and is ready for any name, big or small.
Even though they were against me, I love it. I feed off of that. And I think it's funny when I'm landing, however many punches I land, 250 or 200, and he landed whatever, like 100, but they just scream every single time he lands a punch. But at the end they were quiet. So that's how it goes always.
But that shows you the mental toughness of Jake Paul, to your question, right? For this young man to consistently go in, not in Puerto Rico, they love him in Puerto Rico, but to consistently go in around the U.S. and be treated like the underdog in that arena and not being supported the right way, and for him to persevere and to be cool, calm, collected, and composed and deliver is pretty amazing.
Hey, Jake, right over here to your right. Andreas L. from ESPN. Listen, the last time you fought a fighter that had a lot of pressure towards you was Tommy Fury. You looked a lot different tonight. And people still go back to that fight and say, well, he couldn't beat Tommy Fury. Talk about how much different you are of a fighter now as opposed to when you fought Tommy.
I don't even think I was a fighter then. I was like 2.5 years into the sport. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have the proper team around me, the proper conditioning. My lifestyle outside of the ring was still that of like a YouTuber, celebrity actor, whatever I was at that point in time. So I wasn't fully focused on boxing. Like I said, feels like chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in the sport.
Chavez Jr. admitted to starting slow, but insisted he's not done yet. However, his father, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., was clearly disappointed. While he noted his son's improvement in the later rounds, he blamed the loss on inactivity and past issues. Still, Chavez Sr. said his son showed heart and hasn't completely ruled out a comeback.
Jake Paul just fought against Mike Tyson, who didn't even throw one punch. This is not Mike Tyson. You are gonna get your ass whooped.
No hay manera de que le gane Jake Paul.
There is no way Jake Paul.
Esta preparación que hizo Julio, Jake Paul no la sabe, ¿entiendes?
This camp, Jake Paul doesn't know.
Va a salir a tirar chingazos y Jake Paul va a estar corriendo como gallina.
Julio's gonna go in throwing some serious punches, and you're gonna be running like a chicken without a head.
Yeah, we've heard it all before.
So now the question stands, does Jake Paul's dominant victory mean he's truly ready to take on elite fighters? Or is this just another well-managed PR moment in a career designed for attention more than legitimacy?
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Yeah. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this, a lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So we're excited.